Alaikum and welcome back to the mid-morning show with me, Zaheerah Bham-Ismail, right here at Salam Media. We've been having some hectic discussions, and the feedback coming back from you has been remarkable, whether it's from abuse or the systems that are currently in place. But I think, it's one thing for us to discuss the institutionalized systems, which we will be discussing at around 12 o'clock with Nabila Mullah, who is an active part in it from the legal fraternity as well as from a religious point of view. But I also want to talk about a general support systems that we have, because this extends to family members, to communities, to society, because we cannot also absolve ourselves from our responsibility to people around us, to what we see. I remember growing up in a time where women were largely protected. And I know that this is really controversial bringing it up, but really, where are the men who are supportive and protecting of women, who are not just turning a blind eye anymore? We talk all the time about women not being in their feminine energy. But the reason I feel that also takes place is because men are not being men. Men are not in their masculine energies to take care and to protect and to look after their women. And women are having, for a fair large amount of it, having to do this for themselves, which is why when you want to criticize women for why they're in their masculine energies and not absorbing or enhancing or embracing rather their feminine energies, it's because they're so busy trying to look after themselves and people around them that they don't have time to embrace that. And this is something that we each need to look at to see how we are personally responsible for it. We keep talking about our community at large and our community and where it's let us down. But what are we as individuals doing? How are we actually impacting and affecting the people around us? If we are of no help and we're causing more harm and more damage, then are we actually enhancing our community? Because we need to understand that the ripple effects of everything that we do goes a long way in building and growing our community for future generations. Our kids around us are watching us and they're taking from us. We said this yesterday as well, that our generation, mine particularly, we've wanted to fix what our family members broke, our parents broke, but we didn't take any of that wisdom with us. And I don't think, are doing any help. We're actually causing a lot more damage in the way we're parenting, in the way we're coming across to our children. And we have to be so conscious and so aware of this, because it's really going to make an impact on generations to come. Yesterday, I put up a few questions onto my social media pages asking for feedback in terms of how people have interacted with regards to their divorces, with regards to their nikah contracts, the support that they've been given, the support from communities. And both men and women responded, and it was quite remarkable to see the different types of responses that we're getting. But again, it's coming back to who we are as individuals. Those comments we will deal with when we get into our conversations with Nabila, when we talk about the support, or rather the lack of support that we feel. I want to come back to talking about who we are as individuals, how we raise, how we treat people around us. And again, I'm reiterating, this is not just talking about men who are perpetrators of abuse. We get women who are perpetrators of abuse. And as much as we also have support networks, there are a lot of men in our community who are also supporting, ensuring safe spaces and safe havens for women. Our Sisters of Light project, which is a safe haven for women who are going through any form of GBV, is largely supported by men. It is run by men who are making sure that these organizations exist so that no woman ever feels alone. So when I talk about individual duties and our individual responsibilities, what are we teaching our children? When we talk about what their rights are when they get married, are we also teaching them what their obligations and their duties are? We all tend as individuals to scream about our rights all the time. What's owed to us? What's about me? Social media has given us this me, and only me entitlement that makes us believe that we can do and get anywhere we can at the expense of stepping on anyone in our path. Our religion doesn't teach us that. Our culture doesn't teach us that. We don't come from communities that teach us that. So when we talk about what we entitled to, this me concept, what are your duties as well? What are your obligations? And as parents, are we passing that on to our children so that they're not only building up family units, but they're also building up senses of community? It's really important that we take away the selfishness. COVID has made the selfishness so apparent and so huge that we're willing to break anyone as long as we get ahead. And this is not who we are. This is absolutely not who we are. So we need to change that mindset. And I firmly believe that majority of people don't feel that. Majority of people don't think that, but we pay credence, or we give credit to social media platforms that only teach you that. Take that away. It's time to change the narrative. If we want our communities to grow and we want our communities to work, we want our family units to work, there needs to be accountability. Yes, your rights are important, but your obligations and your duties are just as important. And as much as we want women to embrace the roles that they're in, we need men to embrace their roles as well, the way it's meant to be embraced. We live in a society that is difficult in any case. It's so important that we provide homes that give safe spaces, that give safe networks. You don't need to teach your children the hard way because we live in a harsh world. The world is harsh enough. Give them a loving, supportive environment where they know they can always come back to, where they can feel safe. Because when you give them that, they understand how they may able to manage the rest of the world and the environments around them. Because when you teach your children what's respect, what's dignity, what's acceptable, what's boundaries, what is abuse, what they should be okay with, what they shouldn't be okay with. You really are giving them the best gift they can possibly have to be able to carry on, to be able to raise families that are wholesome families. Where generational trauma ends, where toxicity ends. And you know, this word toxicity moves on in, it's so loosely used, the same way narcissism is so loosely used. And I think we have to be cautious with the way we use those words because it is about accountability. Because again, like I said yesterday, as much as every single one of us has narcissistic qualities, every single one of us has toxic qualities, it's what we decide to do with it, how we take responsibility for these parts of our character, and how we understand that it's not okay to just inflict this onto another human being. We have to understand that responsibility lies within each of us on how we impact, how we interact, and how we are consciously dealing with people around us. It's something that is greatly important and something that we can never take for granted in terms of the ripple effects of that. We have to form foundations within our own family units that where children can thrive on, where there are safe spaces, where people are not walking on eggshells all the time. We have to go for a quick ad break. We'll be breaking for a news item and then getting back into these discussions with Nabila Mullah. Stay tuned.